Howdy, howdy, y'all. Unfortunately for you, it is Jim, and today we'll be diving straight into a challenge run of Ghost of Tsushima here at the Numata settlement. This isn't a typical challenge run. This is actually a silly one that I concocted for my own self in the attempts of keeping this game fun and entertaining for myself. I am masochistically placing myself under 5 rules as we go through this camp right now. Simple as assassinations only, broken armor only, curses equipped only, no horns, no alarms, and the final challenge, use only what you can pick up. Now, let's go through this one at a time. Assassinations only, pretty explanatory. No melee kills, no bow kills, no ghost weapon kills. If we are going to kill somebody, it's with the Tanto or it's with the katana coming off of an aerial assassination. Number 2 and number 3 go hand in hand. Broken armor with curses only equipped means that our detection chances are the highest that they can possibly be. Nothing's helping us stay in the darkness. Whatever moves we make have to be decisive and quick, because otherwise we'll be spotted like almost right there. Almost right there. Stay in the weeds a little bit, wait for them to lose interest, and then move on. Number 4, no horns or alarms. What that sounds like is whenever we kill somebody, we have to make sure that their bodies aren't found and the rest of the camp isn't alerted, right? And number 5, use only what you pick up. This is what you've been seeing us do throughout the beginning of this run here, picking up bell chimes to use for later. This is our first assassination, by the way. We're killing these 2 indoors where nobody else patrols and their bodies cannot be found. But as for some of the enemies patrolling outside, we need to kill them in places where their bodies can easily hide, such as in tall grass. On the screen, you'll also see an indicator for how many chimes we picked up and how many chimes we have used and how many chimes we have left as we're going through in and out of tents, taking care of any enemies along the way. Dealing with these archers, particularly difficult. We don't want them to spot us. They're here on Lethal Plus. We're on Lethal Plus, by the way. They can spot you incredibly fast and in runs just like that. Killing this enemy in this very specific spot for later. That will be a surprise. And now dealing with the final archer up in this center tower. So important to get rid of them as quickly as possible. As the general and their 2 brutes round that corner, we're going to be following them closely. But before that, watching as this rotating patroller comes back. Spots the body that we left in the corner, right? But perfect place to leave his body, too. Get that next chime, move on over, back to this threesome patrol. We need to thin those numbers out for later. Let's take care of one of the brutes. Like before, into the tall grass. There you go. Just in case y'all didn't catch it, the first 2 minutes of this video was complete nonsense. I don't recommend doing what I did in the first 2 minutes of this video. All that was an enormous flex. I wanted to see if I could do all of the side objectives without killing one person, and I was able to do that. Speaking of killing people, these 5 people here on this platform, difficult. This has ruined runs for me for the entirety of the day that I attempted this gym challenge, if you will. There's 2 people on the left, 2 people on the right, and a 5th overwatching all of them toward the back. We need to kill these 5 in very specific positions as to have the highest possible chance of making it through this platform and not having to restart our run. Killing that first spearsman outdoors will be for later. Killing the spearman indoors is to make sure that these other two gremlins over here on the left don't see them. These two stick to each other like glue and butter. And don't worry, just because you get spotted doesn't mean that you can't still assassinate whoever spots you. Now, as for that fifth person, that fifth Overwatch, we can't just walk up to them and kill them. But there is a method to still getting that kill. We're still on the clock, though, because the General and the Brute are still coming around. This is what we do. Now we quickly move on over. Just in time, as the General and their last remaining Brute shows up to the party. They walk in such a way that they don't notice the two bodies off to the side there. Perfect, because they will notice the one spearman that we left earlier. Get the big man, he was lagging behind. And just like that, half of this camp is already dealt with. Half of it. If I remember correctly, as I counted, there should be 31 or 32 total enemies in this camp that you have to deal with. Either, it doesn't matter how you deal with them, assassinate, impale, set on fire, or terrify. All of these camps that you have to liberate in Ghost of Tsushima, every single Mongol needs to be dealt with. I originally thought, oh hey, wait, what if I deal with all the side objectives and then just kill the General would be over? No, the game's like, no, you gotta make sure there are no survivors. While we're here setting up for the next go of Assassinations, there's actually a little bit extra that I wanted to share with y'all about the stealth of this game. So I didn't realize that the detection process of this game was more robust than it was, but I actually have to give Sucker Punch a lot more credit, because besides the obvious white and yellow phases that you see before somebody fully spots you, there are various levels of detection in between. So while the white detection bar fills, for examples, there are 3 levels to an enemy reacting to your presence. The first third means that an enemy sees you in their peripheral vision. They're still going to be walking and doing their normal activity, but you're in their peripheral. That's something that you need to be careful about. The second third of the white bar will have the enemy pause and briefly look in your direction. They won't make any noise, but they're now wondering, hey, what is that in the side of my eye, right? And then the final third of the white bar will have the enemy do a double take, and they will say something verbal to their allies, like, what is that? Or is somebody there? And then you'll hear the Mongols' allies respond in kind, like, well, what do you see? What is there? Because now they're going to be actively staring you down in whatever direction they saw you in. You can look back in the video for the times where white bars almost got full. That was when they hit their final third. And all of this happens before the final detection meter of yellow, which will, of course, have the enemy charge your location and unsheath their weapon to scout out where they think they last saw you. A very fun challenge that I had for myself here. I enjoy playing through this game a lot, especially now as we reach through the last final 2 pockets of enemies here. You'll see me briefly looking around. I'm kind of in disbelief that I've been doing so well on this run that I'm now taking this last portion as carefully as I can. The enemies here in these little adobes, right, are more difficult to assassinate than you might think, because if you just drop out in front of them on lethal, they spot you quicker than you can assassinate them. You now have to engage them in melee. That breaks the run. But here, We find him just as soon as he was moving positions a little bit. And now we can move on to the final, I believe we have 8 or 9 more enemies to get through. A big part of making this run work is also map knowledge. Putting as much time as I did into trying to perfect this was grueling. It was a time sink, but I enjoyed it simply due to how it all fell together like a puzzle piece. That's what all of that, maybe not all of the camps, but some of the camps feel like an elaborate machine that you, the protagonist, have to unwind and demolish however you means necessary. Either full-on frontal assault, do you just shoot people up with arrows and explosives, or do you do something crazy like what I was doing here? This game's got a lot of possibilities to it, and this is just one of them. I'm really hoping, desiring, wanting for a sequel to come out of Sucker Punch. I want whatever's coming out of that developer. I enjoyed Ghost of Tsushima so much it made me go back through the rest of their catalog, and now I'm convinced, yeah, I'm a Sucker Punch fan now. I want to see more of what they do. Here in this final, the final 4 here, we have to deal with. Originally, I used a bell to call this feller over, away from the rest of the 3 by throwing it over the fence, just in the perfect spot. Get this frontal assassination, lightly puts himself in the tall grass. Now he can deal with this grenadier, or this bomb mage, if you will. Again, keeping track of the chimes, I'll have it on the screen somewhere of how many I've picked up versus how many I've actively used in order to make this run work. In theory, the amount of charms you have can totally overwhelm a camp as you kill them off one by one over and over again, which is why I added the use what you find rule. Because otherwise we'd have all the charms we'd ever need in order to defeat this camp without actually learning it. And this one, the coup de grace, having the general look over all of his dead comrades, watch him go for his horn. Doesn't even get the chance. And now what I wanted to show was the gear involved. Again, broken armor only, with those 3 curses and the additional charm of carnage, which just makes combat more bloody. If you want to attempt something like this, either in this same camp or in another camp of your choosing, good luck to you. This might take you all a while, but I found this particularly enjoyable, and now I'm passing on the same challenge and knowledge onto those who want to give it a try. Until the next time, whenever I either get on stream to play more of this game or think of a new guide or new happenings for Ghost of Tsushima, I'll see y'all there. Take care of yourselves, be sure to drink some water, get some good sleep, and peace.
Huh?